So, time, huh? This is kind of a big topic. I don't know when or where to start really, so I'm just gonna start. For 2 years, I was downloading a lot of information about how time worked because I knew here in our human bodies we aren't really going about it correctly, and it's more a reflection of what's in our mind. But you can understand that without feeling it as wisdom, so I really wanted the wisdom. And one of the moments that this first came to me in downloaded wisdom from the universe in one of my meditations last year, I wrote a poem about it because it came with imagery. So if you'll indulge me for like 10 seconds, I just want to read this because it kind of sets the stage for what I'm about to talk about. So I call this one frame, and it goes, "What has gone and yet to come are equally unreal. Life's a constant flashing of a one frame movie reel. This moment is all that exists inside of mind's domain. So if you cannot change your mind, each moment is the same." So we have a view of time here that's linear this way, I'm going to put it. And then we also have a concept of the now and being in the moment that is a little hard to wrap your mind around. And it's easy to talk about that without really understanding what that means. So I'm going to try and at least start us off explaining that because there's no way I can cover the whole thing in one video. But let's start having a discussion. So every single thing that ever happens to us, every experience and every feeling we have is reflected outside. So it all starts with what's in our mind, and then that's reflected into our external world back to us. We're always the beginning. So people go through life doing the same things and having the same patterns and not really changing their minds or attempting to grow or trying to push their boundaries. And they kind of have a mundane flavor to life. And those are the situations you hear about when someone gets to the end of their life and has all these regrets and things they wish they'd done and they wish they'd loved more and worked less, and the standard regrets about how they used their time. So it works in a different way than we think it does. We think that time externally passes by on this timeline. We're just sitting here in the present, and we think time is going by, and the act of time going by will change our external environment. So we think the world just keeps evolving around us, and then our role is to act upon the world. And as the world changes, hopefully it changes for the better so that our experiences can become better. But that is a backwards way of looking at it, because what it sort of means to be in the now, one way to explain it is that whatever your mindset is right now, whether it's positive or negative, is equally reflected into your past and your future at the same time. So when you have really bad negative thoughts about your past and you hold resentments and you have regrets and you have guilt and sadness, when those are the main thoughts that you focus on when you look at your past, that is all from the now, because that's what you're feeling now. So you're equally projecting that in every direction. You're projecting it onto the past, but you're also projecting it onto your future. So you can't expect that as time passes that your future is going to get better if you haven't changed your perspective of the past, because your feelings in that moment are still the same. So you need to change your mood in order for the future to be different. So you also have to release your resentments, judgments, release those negative emotions you have associated with the past. And that is what I'm going to call right now your filter. So whatever your emotional filter is in the moment, that is how your future is going to continue to unfold. And you can change that at any moment. And that's why people say it only takes an instant to be in the now, or there's plenty of ways to say that. But what happens when you do that is it's as if time is horizontal and the moment and the now is vertical. So changing your mind can bring you up or down that scale. So let's say you're kind of average now. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're not. Your past is okay. Your future's looking, maybe there's a couple sort of exciting things about it, but it doesn't really look like there's going to be all that much that's different from the past. But if you start focusing on things that are even more negative, things that you expect your future to be negative, things that you really didn't like in your past, if you in this moment focus on those negative things, it's as if it brings you down vertically. So then you're calling in those elements from the past and the future that match the negativity you're feeling. So you've changed your filter to a more negative place and you see your past differently. So it really does change your past and change your future by calling your attention to the elements of it that maybe you didn't even notice before. But now the more you think about them, the heavier it feels and the worse it feels. So you lower everything so that you're affecting your past and your future at the same time by calling in all the negativity to you, because this is all there is what you are in this moment. So the opposite thing is obviously really good, is if you turn to your past or your future, or in gratitude of what is right now. It doesn't matter where your focus is because it's all projected into an illusion of time anyway. It only matters if it's positive or negative as a mindset. But if you start forgiving the things from your past so you don't have those regrets, if you start looking towards exciting things in your future, if you start really loving the things that are here now, it elevates your whole filter, your whole mindset. So you start going vertically out of time that way. And then just the opposite as it was before, you start actually seeing your past in a completely different way. So things that had hurt you really badly, you can start seeing them as things that you really appreciate having had experienced, because they changed your perspective in a way to make you more loving and more accepting. And now your future is going to reflect that. So when you're in a place of more positivity, you're literally drawing all of the best elements to you from your past and your future, from this vertical out of timeline situation. So if you want to change your past and your future, which are equally unreal, as I wrote in the poem, all you have to do is change your mindset. And of course you would want to change it to a higher, more positive perspective, unless you're some sort of masochistic lunatic, but you would want it to be better naturally. And that's really what it means to be in the moment. When people say that, it is not, I mean, it is something you can do instantaneously. You can be in the moment and start doing this instantaneously, but that's more just a fun way to say it than something that can practically happen. It's something that takes a lot of practice, because if wherever you are, whatever your filter is, it's most likely that you've had either this filter that you're currently wearing or something similar to it for a while. And most people have not made huge changes in a small amount of time. But the more you practice raising your mindset to a higher level, the quicker it goes. And it feels like at some point, when you've been taking baby steps, suddenly once you've had enough experience, it feels like it starts going exponential. And then that's really catching up to the now, because the information the universe sends is always in this filter. So you can never hope that in the future things are just going to magically be different if you sit here with the same mindset. So it's not like some experience is going to come along, or you're going to win the lottery, or you're going to marry the perfect person in the future and then that's all going to change. Because until you change your mindset, the future is going to have the same feelings as the past, because you have the same feelings, and everything is always a reflection of your mindset. So if you just start releasing judgments, releasing attachments, and practicing forgiveness, it lets go of all those negative things that hold you in this weird mundane timeline where it feels like nothing's changing, and then it skyrockets you into things where it feels like it feels like the now. You know what it means to be in the present moment when you're in that state, but in another sense, that's when it feels like time is really moving and you feel like your life is finally begun. And there's a lot of fun things that happen once you release those judgments and let yourself go up this way through changing your perspective. And those things are synchronicities is one of them, a big one that a lot of people experience. And what that is, sort of, you just start finding things that are really specific in different times of your life that start weaving themselves together. So when you let yourself be in the moment like that, and stop allowing your filter to become stagnant and just let it change by not putting judgment over it, just allow your filter to naturally raise up, it starts interweaving different parts of your life that seemed completely separate from each other, and it finally starts feeling like you've started to live your life. Like, a lot of us have this feeling of, when is my life going to start? Is it going to start when I have $1 million? Maybe it'll start when I get married. Maybe it'll start when I have a house. Maybe I need that car. Maybe I need this new job for it to start. But it starts when you just let yourself go up this way, and it really begins to feel like you're living in a story, and you can see your own story of your own life start to unfold, and it's being directed by you too. So keeping yourself on this judgmental timeline that pulls in the negative aspects and holds them there is preventing the story of your life from playing out. It's like you're giving the directing power of your life to the negative elements and choosing them so that they can continue to direct your life in the future. But when you let go of those, it skyrockets you up, and you start seeing all the things you love coming together, and you start loving more things and having more interests and more excitement, and you can see how you can weave all of those together, and it becomes really easy. So you would get to the end of your life at this, in this way, and not have regrets. You would think it was really fulfilling, and you feel good, and you feel like you are the main character in your own story. And that's really what being in the now is. So it's a state of appreciation and gratitude, and there's so many different ways to get there. Every now and then, if I fall out of being in that space and get in the more horizontal time space for a few days, I'll keep like a curiosity, joy, gratitude journal at night, where I just write down everything for like a week that made me happy or excited, or that I thought was interesting, or like, well, that's crazy, how did that happen, curious. And that really helps get me in the right mind space and set my day off correctly. But there's so many different ways, so I don't want you to feel like there's anything you have to do specifically if it doesn't call to you. But I'll make more videos about how to get into that space and more about time. But let me know what you think about that, if you have any questions or comments or your own experiences in time. But just wanted to start it off somewhere, and that seemed like a good win as any.